we overthinking this? The answer is yes. Absolutely yes. This video, this conversation topic, the article in which we are going to be reading, this is all a product of overthinking, and it's not going to be sugar-coated. This is probably not going to happen. But there's always a but. There is always an idea that we can dive into instead. And in terms of today's video, we are diving into Luke Hughes of the New Jersey Devils, who at the time of this video's publication still remains unsigned. Who knows? Is there some sort of a Mason McTavish, William Nylander-esque holdout that could be taking place with, I guess Hughes and that guy over there in Anaheim? Could we see him sit out some time in 25-26 as they try to sort out these contract shenanigans? Devils GM Tom Fitzgerald isn't worried, but because the contract isn't signed just yet and there's a month to go until the season, I think it's fair for people to go out there and question whether or not there is a reality in which Luke doesn't immediately play for New Jersey. Last year, he had 44 points in 71 games played, 7 goals, 37 assists. Luke Hughes was always touted as to potentially being better than his older brother Quinn Hughes. Of course, I don't think he's eclipsed that territory just yet. I don't think he's even gotten close. But really, Luke Hughes is the third of 3 Hugheses that are all very good hockey players. So, with that in mind, I wanted to go out there and leave a link in the description to this article posted on dailyhive.com by Trevor Beggs yesterday. It dives into Luke Hughes' reported contract demands and how this could give Vancouver Canucks fans a sliver of hope. Oh boy. Of course, the picture here, it's Luke Hughes with his older brother Quinn Hughes, Vancouver Canucks captain and literally the best defenseman Vancouver has ever seen. Quinn is in a spot where he could be eligible to sign an extension next year because his contract expires in 2027. When that contract expires, if he decides to leave Vancouver, it's been very speculated that he's going to go over to New Jersey. But of course, Canucks fans, Canucks management, Jim Rutherford, they all don't want this guy to ever leave. The question is, are they going to be able to build a team good enough around him to convince him to stay? That's the ultimate conundrum here. But this article goes out there and highlights the latest in regards to Luke Hughes and how this could affect the Quinn Hughes conversation. Canucks fans have a right to be nervous about Quinn Hughes potentially leaving in 2 years, but at least he's under contract. The same cannot be said for Quinn's youngest brother. Luke Hughes surprisingly remains a restricted free agent, despite the fact that the Devils GM Tom Fitzgerald told the media earlier in the summer that re-signing Luke Hughes was his top priority. Not only is he still unsigned, but a new report suggests he's looking for a contract that would line up with Jack Hughes' deal. NJ.com reporter Ryan Novozinski recently reported that the youngest Hughes brother is looking for a 5-year contract. That's significant, because if Luke were to sign a 5-year deal, theoretically, both he and Jack Hughes could hit unrestricted free agency at the same time. Oh boy. Talk about lining up the stars and creating your fate together here, baby. Jack Hughes, if you head over to him and his profile, he was signed on long term. And he put himself in a spot where, okay, I got the right? Nope, I absolutely did not get the right Jack Hughes. That's the other guy. Oh, look at that, eh? Trying to open up Elite Prospects pages on the fly. Ended up opening the page for Kent Hughes' son, Jack Hughes. But let's go over here. Jack Hughes has himself a contract that expires in 2030, I believe. And this is a guy who put the pen to the paper to stick around in New Jersey. $8 million a year, 2030 expiration date. The contract takes him until he's 29 years old. 29, 30, he's going to be in that age range, and Jack Hughes already had a 99-point season just without the 82 games played. He would have gotten 100 had he played the full 82. And even in these previous seasons, the guy has been a little bit vulnerable health-wise, but when he plays, he's pretty good. He's a franchise-defining center for the New Jersey Devils. Doesn't need to be a number one because of Nico Hischier, but he's there. And his contract, reportedly, is in the same expiration territory as to what Luke Hughes wants out of his deal. Now, why is this significant? Why is Trevor Beggs going on to Daily Hive and saying that this is actually a good thing for the Vancouver Canucks fans? Well, here's what he says. It's well known that Quinn Hughes had 2 years left on his contract, but President Jim Rutherford threw gasoline onto that simmering storyline during the Canucks end-of-season press conference in April. Quinn said before that he wants to play with his brothers. That would be partly out of our control or in our control if we brought his brothers here. So there's many moving parts here. Yeah, back at it again with Jim Rutherford saying the most unnecessary things to the media. He is an old man without a filter. And that's not even being disrespectful. Jim Rutherford is 76 years old. So him going out there and making these comments in the media, yeah, it provides us with some very good content, but I don't know if it's necessarily beneficial to the franchise. The quote sent shockwaves throughout the hockey world, and Fitzgerald was even asked about it once the Devils were eliminated. Since then, there have been concerns in the fanbase about Quinn leaving in 2 years to join his brothers in New Jersey. However, if Luke were to actually sign a contract that lined up with Jack's, with the idea that they would hit free agency together, could Quinn potentially do the same with Canucks? That would equate to Quinn signing a 3-year deal with Vancouver, making him a free agent in the summer of 2030 at the age of 30. At that time, Jack would be 29 and Luke would be 26. If they did that, the three brothers could all choose to sign in New Jersey or Vancouver, or anywhere else they'd like. Now, there's an entire thing over here about Luke Hughes and what's going on over there, but I wanted to highlight this idea. If Luke Hughes wants to re-sign in New Jersey to align his contract expiration with Jack Hughes, and theoretically, if you're thinking about Quinn Hughes doing the same, would that not accomplish what exactly it is Canucks fans want to see? Quinn Hughes staying in Vancouver. Maybe not for the long-term 8 years like Canucks fans would prefer to see this guy stick around for, because of course Quinn's the best defenseman this franchise has ever had. They want him to stay. But even if he stays, if it's just for a little bit, that's a lot better than nothing, right? Right now, Quinn Hughes has 2 more years left on his deal. If he re-signs for 3 years, that's a 5-year window for the Vancouver Canucks to be competitive while this guy's on the team, shattering records and doing what it is that he's doing. Not to say that Quinn Hughes is not going to age well into whatever contract he gets. I think he's ascended to that level where it's like, yeah, Quinn Hughes is going to slow down whenever he slows down. And none of us are going to be able to dictate when that is. He is an exception to the rule. He is one of the best players in the league. And if he ends up playing at a high top 2 defenseman level well into his 30s, then that's okay. Like, that's totally understandable. It's reasonable. If there's anybody who can do that, it's him. I'm not even suggesting that Vancouver could get the quote-unquote best years out of Quinn Hughes before he leaves in free agency in 2030 to go to New Jersey and play with his brothers. But I'm just saying that that could open the door for things to work very well in Vancouver's favor at that time. Trevor Beggs even goes out there and says here, like, if the 3 brothers all have their contracts expire at the same time, they could all choose to go to New Jersey or Vancouver or anywhere else. At that stage, maybe we could see the Luke Hughes train come to Vancouver. Or maybe Jack Hughes also comes to Vancouver. Maybe they all decide to come here. If Vancouver is able to put together a winning team, then maybe all 3 of these guys decide to take their talent collectively as a brother trio to the Vancouver Canucks. So, if anything, this situation of Luke Hughes wanting his contract to align with Jack Hughes, if the possibility exists that Quinn Hughes also decides to do the same thing, it extends Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford's window of keeping this team competitive and putting together a championship caliber squad by that many years. It's not the best. You would prefer Quinn to stay long term, but this is better than him leaving right away, right? So with that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this update on Luke Hughes and how this could potentially affect the Canucks in a positive way. How long do you think Luke Hughes ends up re-signing for, and which team is it with? And do you think he could inevitably become a Vancouver Canuck one day? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Article's going to be linked in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.